I'm Dr. Danny. I'm the mortgage doctor. I'm an independent mortgage broker with Barrett Financial. I like to do funky loans. I like to do creative financing. And my current passion is renovation loans because of all the possibilities that they bring to first-time homeowners, people who are looking to build investment profiles, and also people who have homes that are struggling to get them sold for whatever reason. Maybe they're blaming it on the fact that interest rates are high. Maybe they're blaming it on the fact that everybody who could afford a home already bought a home and now they don't want to leave their 3.5% interest rate, and I don't blame them. So I see renovation loans as a great way to make headway with all of those challenges. And I'm here today with Megan Trigg. She's an absolute expert in renovation loans. And correct me if I'm wrong, she eats them, breathes them, sleeps them. This is what she does. And so I'm going to turn over the presentation to Megan, who's going to teach us everything that we need to know about how to use a renovation loan to buy and sell a house.
Yes, thank you. All right. I have a lot to live up to with that one, but okay, so here goes. So just a quick presentation on why should you be looking at renovation loans. So we're going to start with something basic of what is a renovation loan. A lot of people don't know. A lot of people confuse it with being a construction loan, like a floor up or, ground up construction loan. And that is not it. A renovation loan is to help people that have houses that aren't move-in ready. Perhaps there's repairs that need to be done. It's just outdated. Or they just want personal improvements. They want something that they just want for themselves. They just don't like what was in there. So it's allowing you to do a purchase and a renovation loan all in one. So you could do your purchase of your home plus the cost of the renovation to either update or fix any repairs that need to be done all in one loan. It does not require you to do a second loan at the end of the transaction. It is one loan and you are done, and you're good with that mortgage as long as you're happy with that mortgage. You do not have to have a second mortgage coming after it. All right, so let's start with why are renovation loans becoming a big thing right now? A lot of new construction, it's declined. There's a lot of older homes out there. This little chart that we got here. A lot of homes are older. They were built before 2000. So this little source here, 75% of the homes were built before 2000. So even if they don't need major structural repair, they may just be a little outdated. I mean, we're talking now almost 25 years old. So maybe the kitchen isn't what you want it to be. The bathrooms are outdated. I mean, if it was built in the 2000s, you probably don't have the popcorn ceilings, but let's go back to, the 70s. We still have some of those out there with the shag carpet, the popcorn ceilings, the green appliances and yellow appliances, although I think those are making a comeback now. Everybody likes vintage now, so maybe keep those in there, but it's a good reason to do a renovation loan. So if you have clients as a realtor and they're looking for a certain neighborhood, they have to be somewhere, they want something, but the homes are outdated, you could still give them that house and they could do a renovation loan with it. So let's just talk about kind of the cost of improvements. It's a lot more than what people think they are, and so if you think, oh, they could just do it down the road or they could just get into the house and do it later, a lot of them just don't have the funds for it because it is pretty costly. So just giving you an idea here, bathroom additions, that's going to be your most expensive there in the master suite edition. You're up in the 150 range, 105 range. Kitchen remodels are up in the $77,000 range. These are just average numbers that we use of projects that we've done. So this is where we're seeing it. Even a basic replacement of a garage door, you're looking at $4,000 range. A lot of borrowers don't have those funds. So again, this is something that you can do with just one loan of either purchasing the home, doing the renovation costs in there, or if you're maybe even refinancing, something you could do with refinancing. So the misconception about it, realtors always think that you could only do it on foreclosed homes. That is not true. You could do it on any home. You have borrowers thinking it's going to take too long, or they're going to do it after the fact. They'll just, get into the house and they could do all those things later, not realizing the cost that it all adds up. Well, that is not true. This is something that you can do before you move in, so you could have the house the way you need to be it. The benefit of doing it, again, everybody wins here when it comes to your borrowers, the real estate agents, the originators. This loan helps everybody. So you have, for your borrower, they have more opportunities, more homes that they might want to look at. Now that they know that they can remodel it, they don't have to buy it as is, that they do have opportunities to change it to make it what they want it to be. You also are working off of immediate equity in the home, right? So if you come in there and they're selling the home below value because grandma and grandpa had lived in the home for the last 30 years and they have not remodeled it. So kids are selling it pretty cheap. Borrower comes in, they remodel it, they already have that instant equity when they move in. They don't have to put stuff on their credit cards and rack up more debt. You know, credit cards right now, I think is 23 to 25% interest rate. Again, a mortgage right now is much, much cheaper than that. This is definitely the way to go. As for the realtors, the benefit for them is if they have properties that have been sitting on the market for a while that just won't sell, and they're not selling because of issues like foundation issues, a roof needs to be replaced, or just, again, outdated, right? It's very, very outdated. Sellers won't do anything about any of those repairs. Either they don't have funds or they're just not going to do it. This is going to help them advertise that property and to get people interested in it, knowing that they could do a renovation loan prior to the borrowers moving in and having all these items fixed and corrected. It also will save deals if they are working not with another lender and they're not working with Danny, but they're working with another lender and found out, you know, the inspection was done and the lender won't close on it because these repairs have to be done, right? Because it doesn't meet the guidelines. Again, here you could do a renovation loan. We could fund the loan and then go ahead, everybody gets paid, seller moves on and the repairs are made and everybody's good. So it's going to save deals as well. I just kind of threw in a little things about renovation loans versus doing like a line of credit. This would be more, you know, if you're looking at somebody who is doing it as a refinance versus a purchase, the benefits of doing it as a renovation loan versus just getting a line of credit, maybe either after they purchase the home, or again, if it's a refinance, instead of getting a line of credit on there, you have good considerations to look at. I mean, you're looking at a renovation loan is going to go with the future value of whatever renovations are being done and what that future value brings, where a HELOC is going to be based off of what it is right now. So it's going to give you more opportunity, more financing available to you. Again, your rates are lower doing a renovation loan than if you were to do a HELOC or a line of credit. You could use a HUD consultant on the majority of our products, depending on the scope of work you're doing in a HUD consultant, somebody who's there looking out for you. They're helping you with your project, making sure it stays on course, making sure that everything is being done the right way, versus you having to do it all on your own and you're taking that risk that you just don't know what you're doing and who knows what the builder's doing. Also with renovation loans versus just taking cash out of your property or doing it on your own, a renovation loan, the cost is already set. I mean, unless something major happens, they're not going to be changing their fees. It's already, you know, the contract's done. We've already set the funds aside for them. Everything stays on course. So as I mentioned earlier, you know, finding your target audience, who can this help? I mean, this is, again, something that could save a loan, like I talked about, that it didn't pass the inspection. So there you're saving a loan. If you have borrowers wanting to move into, you know, up and coming areas that they could still get a really reasonably priced house, they just need to update it. That's perfect for them, right? They get into those areas at a cheaper cost. If you have clients that need spaces because they work from home or they teach their kids from home, right? They homeschool. You could buy a house and you could add on square footage and maybe add on to a couple rooms to give you your home office or to give you that homeschool area. Or if you maybe you're moving in your grandma and grandpa or your parents because they're getting elderly, or maybe you need help with your kids, you could add on, again, square footage to the home. You could add on another master retreat for them. And then there are some programs that you could actually add on an ADU. So that means it's not connected to the house. It's actually a smaller separate dwelling that you could also use for that. And we're seeing a lot with our older borrowers, the deferred maintenance. They've just forgotten to take care of things, or they just haven't had the funds to take care of things. So again, this is something that will help with those houses that are out of date or just need, you know, the deferred maintenance taken care of. But again, you can't do it after you close the loan because no lender is going to let you close with those issues. So these are just a couple scenarios that we've actually done. So it talks about getting borrowers into a better neighborhood. So borrowers want to purchase in a certain neighborhood because of a school district, but couldn't find a home in their price range. Well, this way here, again, you could find maybe a cheaper home that needs something done to it. Like in this case here, the laundry room and the kitchen had water damage from a broken pipe, and so it was reduced price. It was right in their price range. They could do the renovations, get all that fixed, and still, move into the home in the neighborhood that they want in the price range that they could afford. So that's one example of how it could be used. Another example that we had, borrower wanted to purchase an investment property, but didn't have 20% to put down. So instead they looked for duplexes where he could move into one side of it. So he did update both sides. He made one side, obviously, his master retreat, right? So he made that side a little higher end to how he wanted it to be. And then the other side, he remodeled that for the rental side, right? So it doesn't have to be as much that he puts into it, but he was able to make the one side that he was going to live in how he wanted it to be. So this is a great way for them to accumulate properties as well. All right, and so the last one, what I kind of mentioned before, was bringing a house up to code. So this would be like a non-permitted addition. Property was red tagged by the county for non-permitted garage conversion, and so it was being purchased below value. Well, by doing a renovation loan, again, you could bring it up to code and roll it all into the renovation loan. And again, they were able to get into a house cheaper than what they were expecting because they were able to get it low and they have that instant equity in there. So now these are just a few examples of when I talk about that instant equity of how it works. Again, these are true scenarios that we've gone through before. So here's one in Oregon where we had a sales price of $330,000. They did $28,000 in repairs. The after improved value came in at $400,000. So right there, the instant equity at closing for the client was $41,000. Here's another one in California. We had a sales price of $170,000. We had about $75,000 in repairs. The after improved value came in at $375,000. It gave instant equity of $130,000 to the client. So here's another good one. This is in Chicago, and I see a lot in Chicago. We have a lot of those older neighborhoods that are kind of coming back, or people are wanting to move back into the city, and these houses, these row houses, they've kind of been let go. They've been abandoned for a while. So we see a lot of people moving back in there, but the houses have been vacant for a while. There's the damage to them. So I'm seeing a lot right now in Chicago, but this one here is perfect. It's $335,000 sales price. They did $125,000 in repairs. It appraised for $685,000. So they had instant equity of $225,000 in that property. So if you have, again, clients looking to move into certain areas, or they're open to the ideas of just remodel it. You walk in there and imagine you can make anything you want in here yours. Just kind of get past of how it looks right now. This is a great opportunity. Realtors can really get their clients what they want, the neighborhoods they want, maybe the size of home that they want, again, by being able to use this renovation program. There are many different renovation programs. You have your conventional products, which is your Fannie and Freddie. You have your government, which is FHA, USDA, and VA. With that, your down payments, you have as little down as for your VA and USDA, 100% financing. Your FHA, your 3.5% down, and then your conventional for first-time home buyers and limited income restrictions. You have your 3% or your standard 5% for those are all owner occupied. You can also do second home and non-owners on these programs as well. And you're looking at more of a down payment on that. Just to highlight some of the programs, I mentioned that you can do second homes and investment. So you'll see here on this slide that the conventional products allow you to do primary, second home, and non-owners. The down payment you're seeing down here is all for owner occupied. So again, the 5% down for your Fannie Freddie, 3.5% for your FHA, USDA, you could get as little as 0% down. Repairs and improvements. So what can't be done? Try to keep the projects $350,000 or less. I mean, it's a pretty big project when you're doing that. So $350,000 or less, because we're also in a time limit. You only have 6 months to complete these. Moving a house from another location, you cannot do that. I've recently got a lot of calls about some historical churches that they want to turn into a house and they want to move it from one to another. We cannot do that with these programs. We can't do any kind of improvements that result in commercial. It has to be residential. You cannot take a single family dwelling and convert it to a 2 to 4 unit. You cannot do that. You also cannot take a 2 to 4 unit and convert it to a single family. Oil tank removal or repairs, we cannot be done. And we cannot do tear downs, foundation up. What we can do though, so you could do a lot. So you're looking at structural repairs. Now on VA, it's going to be minor structural repairs, but all the other programs, and you could do major structural repairs. So you're talking about foundation repairs, which I see a lot in back east, pool repairs. That's a lot in the west. Adding a pool. There's actually some of these that will allow you to do luxury items where you're just adding, you're not fixing anything. You're maybe just making a backyard space, barbecue, pool, maybe a little pool house back there. So there are some programs that will allow you, it doesn't always have to be a repair. It doesn't have to have something wrong with it. It could just be adding to it. Adding addition. Well, of course, that's always going to bring equity to the home. When you add to the square footage of the home, you could add on an extra bedroom, an extra bath. Again, maybe it's an older home, and so they don't really have a owner's retreat area. It's just all small bathrooms. You could add on an owner's retreat. So your kids could have one part of the house and you could be back at the other side and have your own bathroom and your own suite back there. Adding on a garage. A lot of homes weren't built with garages. These older homes, again, back east. So maybe you want a garage now. You want to add that on. You could do that. Big thing right now I'm seeing in the West is adding ADUs. That is a accessory dwelling unit. Now, if it's going to go FHA, it needs to be attached to the house. But if you're doing one of your Fannie or Freddie programs, you could go ahead and do it detached. Again, everybody calls it something different. ADUs is the way you call it in the lending world, but depending where you're located in the country, mother-in-law suites, casitas, coach houses, they all kind of have a different name. But that's great if you have, again, bringing in maybe another generation and you want to have your own space in your house and give them their own space, but still have them on your property so you could, help them and keep an eye on them. This is a great thing for that. So you can find the home that you want, even if the rooms aren't enough, you could add that. So you can still bring, your parents along with you if that's what you need to do. And as I mentioned before, the recreational or luxury items, the swimming pools, the backyard barbecue, adding a gazebo, all those good things to entertain in your backyard. You could also do those. Fire pits. So there's a lot that can be done with these. Again, it does not have to be a necessary required thing in order to close the loan. It doesn't have to be a problem. It could just be they want to update it or they want to add to this home. They love the neighborhood, but they want a pool. They love the neighborhood, but they needed an extra bedroom. So it doesn't have to be something because it didn't meet the lending requirements and it had to be repaired. It could just be they want to do it because this is what they need for their home. So some helpful hints when it comes to doing the purchase contract. Definitely, I would suggest doing a 45 to a 60-day close of escrow just to give everybody enough time to get into the property. You need to have your contractors get in there, the HUD consultant, the inspectors getting in there, and the appraiser. So you need to give time for that. And that's why I always say, give a little bit longer. Of course, everybody's going to close it as soon as they could close it. But this way here, nobody's stressing and you've set everybody up to succeed. You didn't set everybody up to fail, because if you do a 30-day close of escrow, but the contractor couldn't get in there because the seller maybe didn't have any availability to their schedule to open the home for them, and now everything's delayed. So this way here keeps everybody happy. And you definitely want to make sure that you have your, power, water, utilities on, because that could have caused some delays, with the appraiser and everybody going out there with the inspections. So there's my helpful hints on writing that purchase contract. Definitely give yourself a little bit of time. Let everybody know you are doing a renovation loan. It's not going to hold them up from closing. They don't have to wait for the repairs to be made, just a little extra time so that you could get the contractors in there, get the HUD consultants and the appraiser in there so they could do their bids. All right, and that's everything about renovation loans there.
Megan, that was awesome. Thank you so very much for this presentation. I've got like my little notepad here and I've scribbled all over it because as much as I thought I knew about this product, I learned a whole bunch of stuff today. Some of the things that really jumped out at me as incredibly valuable in the market that we're facing today is, hold on. Wait a second. And nope, never mind. I thought I was going to do a thing with Zoom and it didn't work out. I love your examples on the instant equity that you can add with a renovation loan. I know for me, I definitely have an investment mindset. So I'm looking at homes as a way to build equity, a way to maneuver yourself to a position of financial freedom, generate income streams, and so on and so forth. So, you know, my own intuition told me that whenever you can buy a house that's got something busted, like you should be hearing, you know, the cash register cha-ching going in your brain because it's always going to add more equity than it's going to cost you to repair it. And these examples that you shared just really drove it home the enormous benefits that are to be had from going in and, you know, taking those responsibilities on yourself. So I thought that was really cool. And then also, you know, I'm thinking about this, and Carrie, you know, maybe you might want to have a little bit of input here, but right now everybody is so pinched in their home searches, right? So, you know, if you're looking for like a 3-2, for example, but all you're finding in your budget is, you know, is like a 2-2 or 2-1, which, you know, especially in like the older neighborhoods, the smaller homes, that happens, and you don't quite have the square footage that you're looking for. Knowing that you're adding equity with the investment and knowing that you're also expanding the options that you have available for your clients in their home search by allowing them that freedom to customize, that to me says that this is going to relieve a lot of the pressures that people are experiencing trying to buy homes today. So I thought that was just really, really cool. Do we have any questions? Anything maybe that we'd like to have Megan go into in a little bit more detail?
I don't have any right now.
Okay. Well, so I've got kind of a couple of questions, if that's cool, Megan, if you want to kind of field mine for a little bit.
Yep, no problem.
So when you were talking about myth busting, right? I was surprised to hear that a lot of people thought that you could only use these on foreclosures. One of the factoids that I had floating around in my head was that you can do anything to the home but destroy the original foundation. But then you made a comment about, no, it's got to be foundation up. So can you provide a little bit of clarity as to how extreme the home makeover is allowed to be with these products?
Well, you could take it down. Let's say that you've had something where water damage or maybe fire damage and it's down to the studs. So you're doing drywall, but you can't come in and take a home that's fine and then demo it down to the foundation. You can't do that. So
Okay.
Again, you only have 6 months to complete this, 350,000. So coming in, demoing the house and just keeping the foundation, right? And thinking, okay, well, at least the foundation's there. You can't do that. So you could remodel it. You could take it down to the studs and remodel the house inside, or maybe take down some walls and make rooms bigger, but you can't take a house and demo it down to the foundation and then build back up.
Gotcha. And that would be really tight with the 6-month time frame as
Correct.
well.
Right. Because
Yeah.
that is now a construction loan. You're starting all over. That's a construction loan. That's not a remodel.
Right. And so that difference matters quite a bit. Talk to me a little bit about working with contractors, because if we've got a small project, you know, like we're just remodeling the kitchen, then that 6 months is definitely, well, let me not say definitely. I dated a contractor once. It's probably plenty of time, but we've all dealt with the situation where you call them and they don't call you back. You've emailed them and they never read it. So worst case scenario, me here. We buy a house, we budget it out, we start on the project, we close on the loan, and then we start on the project.
Right.
Order matters, right? And then something goes terribly wrong. The contractor disappears, or we can't get them on the phone, or maybe there's a supply chain disruption and we can't get the countertops that we ordered. And now we're at 5 months and we're like, wow, it looks like we're not going to make this deadline. What happens in that case?
Well, you'll be working with your lending partner, right? And the post-closing team that handles all the renovation. And if it starts going sideways and the contractor's not responding, then the borrower would, reach out to the post-closing team who's handling the renovation, let them know, hey, I got to look for a new contractor. This is what's happening. Things like that do happen. I've seen it happen. It happens. And again, everybody understands. So
okay. And so we have a structure to deal with that. Okay. That's good to know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Delays do happen. I mean, during COVID, there was a ton of delays while things were happening, right? We just couldn't get anything in. Again, things happen. We give you 6 months to get it done, but there's always, things happen. It's all about communication.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. And then one more question for you about marketing, using this renovation loan. So as a realtor, and I'm actually leaning on some personal experience. I'm not a realtor. I don't have a realtor's license, but I had a very good friend of mine that I was intimately involved with the sale of his home. And it was an older home. It was built in, I want to say like 2005 or something. So it was not super old, but not super new. He was the second owner of the home, and everybody came in and they looked at it and they're like, this thing needs updates. Took us about 6 months to get the home sold. So Megan, let's say that I'm the realtor and I sit down with the client and they're like, I want to put my home on the market. And I look at it and I say, okay, we can put it on the market, but if you want to get the best offers, you're going to have to do some serious updating. And the client's like, not in the budget. I just need to sell it the way it is. Tell me, at what stage of the game do we introduce this renovation loan to help us make that sale?
If I was a realtor on a house like that, I would do open houses I would reach out to a contractor. Hey, can you give me a bid? Maybe draw some, they got the software for it, right? Kind of give me what you're saying of modernizing the home, give me what the bottom line would be, and do flyers that way so that when clients come in, they could imagine what it would look like with whatever that bid is. Let's use this one here for California, right? Sales price 170. And he gave about 75,000 to renovate it and to get it up to speed, right? So she provides that information. Maybe she shows the pictures of it and just says, look, for $75,000 that you could roll into one loan. So it's all done in your purchase. It's all done one loan. You could modernize this, get this up to date to everything that you want it to be. Your carpet, your paint, your countertops, your cabinets, and look at the equity that you would already gain in there, right? And so that's going to entice them because they're going to come in. You're not keeping the orange shag carpet. You're not keeping the popcorn ceilings. Imagine this all being fresh and new. And look at the budget. Look at the price. You are going to get it for a low price. Again, 75,000 to do all these things. Again, it could be cheaper too. I'm just giving this as the example.
Sure.
And look at what's going in the neighborhood, right? So she's able to show then what that future value, because they're getting it low, because it needs this TLC, and just their little bit of investment, in this example of 75,000, they came in with instant equity of 130.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you're recommending, like, if we really want to get the most out of using this product, to take a proactive approach and really set the home out there and go ahead and do some of that imagining for our buyers and let them know, hey, we've already worked out all the details. All you have to do is decide that you want to make this dream a reality. I love that.
Yeah, have them work with you, so you work up the numbers. They work with the contractor, and again, it's a partnership. You find a contractor you could work with. The contractor also is going to come back and refer business to you, and the three of you could all work together. And it's a great team. A lot of referrals going around with just between the three of you there even.
Yeah,
and just show them what can be done. You have the numbers ready, because a lot of them won't know. They just know that, okay, so 170 sales price. They don't know what it would be. So what's the payment with that? And that's where you're going to come in and show what the dollar amounts would be, right? What's their down payment? bottom line be for them? So
Yeah.
that they can afford
What would the
this.
value of that home be
Right.
after you do, like, and that's what I really love about this slide right here is, everybody right now is worried about, oh, what's the interest rate? Oh, what are rates today? What are rates today? And what they're not realizing is that every day that they're not a homeowner, they're losing out on equity, and they're finding themselves in a harder and harder position to make
Right.
that transition from renter to homeowner. And what the renovation loan does is it not only lowers that bar for people to afford that first
Right.
home, but with the investments done wisely, with an experienced contractor, with the advice of a realtor that understands the local market and the
Right.
home values in the area, you're actually getting ahead of the game,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Because you can build that instant equity. And I love that so much.
Yeah, it's a great tool. That's how I would, as a realtor, that's how I would advertise it for a home that I call them dog properties. But if I was a realtor and I had one of those, that is how I would advertise it, right? Because you don't want them. You're going to have so many open houses. People are going to walk in there, just like you said, your friend's house there. People walk in there, they just look around like, nope, and they walk back out. Some of them don't even make it past the first room. That's why
Yeah.
you entice them by showing, no, you can make this anything you want it to be. Another
Yeah.
way to sell is instead of why would you want the seller to do the renovations? Because they're going to choose probably cheap stuff and they're going to
Hmm.
choose stuff that you may not want. So you don't want the seller to renovate. You want to come in there and you want to choose your colors, your textures, your carpet that you want, your tile. Yeah, you do not want somebody else's choice, right? They're going to go cheap. You don't want that necessarily. So
Yeah.
that is, again, as a realtor, clients with an open mind. And then as they're walking in, you could give them either, a visual of it and just give them the dollar amounts, give them an idea so they know they can do that. Now, the other
Yeah.
ways a realtor is going to do this is if they have properties that fell out because, again, foundation issues, that's an expensive ticket item. Doesn't bring value to the home, like remodeling it and modernizing it, but it's things that need to be done. So the seller typically, if it's going to cost 30 grand to replace the roof, well, then you're going to look at dropping the price typically by $30,000, right, on that, because they know the buyer's going to have to do it. But the problem is those are the ones that you see advertised as cash only,
Hmm.
because they know a lender is not going to come in there and allow the loan to close with the bad roof or with a cracked foundation, that has to be
Right.
repaired before
Right.
you close. So again, this is where a renovation loan could come in on those. And that's where a realtor who maybe has that listing can say, they don't have to advertise as cash only. They could advertise as renovation, cash and renovation loans. And again, renovation loans are all of those. You have your FHA, conventional, your VA, so you don't have to just stick it in a box of cash only. So now you have a better chance of selling that property that's been sitting there for a while.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's why we had this webinar today, because there's so many realtors that I've met with, and I've asked them, I said, did you know that, those cash only homes, did you know you can buy them with an FHA loan? And they go, what? No, they'd never passed the appraisal. And I say, let me tell you, there's a way. And their eyes get wide, because here they realize that suddenly there's a whole market that they've been missing out on. And it's all about educating people on the selling side, to let them know that there is a way to make this deal work. And on the buying side, to let people know that, hey, if you've got specific requirements for your home, you don't have to find them in the home the way it is. There is actually a path forward to you. And
Right.
it isn't just having a pile of cash in the bank. We can make this happen. And so, and the more people know this, I think the more we're going to see this getting utilized. And I think it's going to open doors literally and figuratively for a lot more people in their homeownership journey.
Yeah, I think it's going to give your first time home buyers a chance to get out there now, right? It's a bidding
Yeah.
war and
Yeah.
they're not qualifying for homes. They're priced out of the market. So I think you're going to see, knowing that they have this option, you're going to see those first time home buyers being able to get into their homes, right? They're going to be able to get into it. I think you're also going to see a lot of these older neighborhoods being revitalized. People are
Yes.
going to come back to them. They could
Yes.
update them. They could modernize them. I think people are kind of done with the commute. Everybody kind of moved to the outskirts of towns because they didn't mind commute, but those were the newer homes. I think people are over the commutes. Traffic's just so bad. I know where I live is
Yeah.
what used to be a 20-minute drive is now like an hour and 20-minute drive because of traffic. And
Ugh.
I would not live on the outskirts anymore. I would want
Yeah.
to go back to the city. and stop those long commutes. But the houses are old and they're run down. So that's where you're going to see that revitalized again and bringing all that back.
Definitely, definitely. Well, Megan, I really appreciate you sharing your expertise with us today. This was super informative. I think I think it's just about time. So thank you for your presentation. Thank you for Carrie for joining us, and we'll wrap this up and I'll post the recording for people to view afterwards. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for having me.
All right, cheers, my friend.